yeah, you're a bit of a veteran as well in the industry, so you've been around a bit. So
Yeah,
how,
so 20 years as of September. We were 20 years in business. So something I started out of nothing and
Welcome to the Detailing Down Under podcast, the place for everything auto detailing in Australia right now. Here's your host, Dale Guthrie.
G'day and welcome to the Detailing Down Under podcast. I'm your host, Dar Guthrie. Back once again, and as always, here with Joe. Good evening, Joe. How are we?
Good evening, ma'am. I'm doing really good, actually.
Good
Feeling
stuff.
fresh. It has just gotten so hot up here. The humidity has just been cranking, absolutely cranking. So, having showers between jobs, which is good. My wife told me I stink. Yeah, you know when you can't smell yourself, but other people can. That's like my ultimate fear. You know, when you're talking to a customer and you know you stink, but they're not saying anything because they're just being polite.
Mm.
Yeah, so that's happened to me a few times, just to go into a lot of detail. But North Queensland's very humid, very hot. But have you had many storms down there? Because I know like Southeast Queensland, is it just nice and cool where you are, or is it warming up?
It was warm on the weekend,
Top
and
of what's warm for you? 20?
it was 25. I got sunburnt.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, but look
So,
at you. You're always wearing a jumper. Like you probably go out and,
well, it's cold.
you know,
Yeah,
okay. It's actually cold. All
it's
right.
cold
All right.
today, and yeah. So, but I don't know what humidity is. So
Yeah, I
that's a new
suppose
one.
so. Yeah.
Yep.
Come find out one day, mate. Yeah, you know.
Yeah, I know. Going to Bali in a week or so. So
Oh, you'll know all about it there. That's good.
yeah. So
But man, honestly, been good here, flat out, and yeah, kicking goals, which is great. How about you?
pretty good. We had a slight technical issue. This will come out. So the episode, yeah, last week.
Dog ate your breakfast, that kind of thing. No, ate
Dog,
your homework. Sorry, not your breakfast, but
yeah, chewed the cord. So yeah, we were
call it.
halfway through that drop of the episode, and
Oh,
everything
yeah.
crashed. So yeah, everything's on one machine around here. So if I lose this, I lose the episode.
Game
Don't lose
over.
everything, just lose the episode. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's all yeah, that's out now. So yeah,
Is the
that was
dog
good.
okay though? Is the dog all right? Like,
Dog,
did it get
dog's fine. He don't care. He
expensive
doesn't.
dog?
He doesn't know what he's done.
Yeah.
So, but he's
Oh,
a
that's cool.
puppy. He's
Yep.
still running amok. So it's good. But
Yep. No, that's sweet. It's good.
so
Oh,
yeah,
keen for tonight. It's gonna be
yeah,
good.
got a good one tonight. Heading down south to Sydney. So
Oh, we've come out of Southeast Queensland for once.
yeah, we're chilling
Oh,
out down south. So
let's go.
yeah, we got Jason from Deluxe Detailing Sydney and RPM Car Detailing as well. So good evening, mate. How you going?
good thanks. Good to finally meet you guys and good to be on here. And
Welcome.
yeah, no, it's really good. It's good to be on. I mean, listening to podcasts for so long and now actually being a part of it, it's really great. It's exciting.
No, no, it's good. It's yeah, I got a little bit of a tip off about this one, and then I only just thought you had one shop, but we'll talk about the second shop, and
Yeah.
then yeah, everything sort of makes sense now. So but yeah, Deluxe Detailing in Sydney. So yeah, yeah, you're a bit of a veteran as well in the industry, so you've been around a bit. So
Yeah,
how,
so 20 years as of September. We were 20 years in business. So something I started out of nothing and left a corporate job and sort of went into that. And I sort of actually I went into it by mistake almost. I mean I left the job and was going to take about 3 months off just because I've been working since I'd left school and never stopped. And it didn't really last. I started I hang out with a friend of mine's workshop. It's a mechanical workshop. And I was a bit bored. And then he said, well, why don't you just start washing my customers' cars? And I thought, good idea. That'll keep me busy. So I was going in half a day and just washing his customers' cars. And then a couple of customers wanted some other things done. And then it just sort of built up from there, I guess. And then I needed more and more. I got more and more interested in it. I've always cleaned my own cars and detailed them, but to do it as a business was a bit different. So I decided that that's the path I was going to take. So I rented a premises and bought some equipment, and away I went. Very, 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 very basically. So, but it all took off pretty easily. So, yeah.
Had you not ever ran a business or had
No,
any insights on business? No?
no, I was in a corporate job and I was more of an area manager in that. I was looking after a few reps as it was. And I've never run a business before, so I was so green when I went into it. And I had a friend who owned a Freedom Furniture store at the time, and I got some tips off him. But I mean, a lot of it I just learned as I went along. I mean, I started very basic, but after about 3 months, I actually landed a local Ford dealership, Titan Ford, and from then they were just hammering me with their new cars and some used cars. So that's when I started employing people as well. So it was quite accelerative at the beginning, I guess. So yeah, I had to learn quickly and but do it all. But I have to admit, back then, business was a lot more simple to run. You
Mm.
know, it was a lot easier with staff as well. Um, and we outgrew the premises, and then we expanded. We got the premises next door, and so we had sort of two workshops running at one time, and yeah, so away it went.
Wow. Like, so we're talking 2005 you started, 20
Yep,
years ago.
2005, yeah. So
Wow.
so my workshop then was just was basically a wash bay and one detailing bay, and it was this small factory that I'd hired down this laneway, and I sort of did it on the premise that the guy I was washing his cars for originally, that I would still do his cars, but I'd just build this business up out of it as well. But he wasn't happy with that, and so he didn't give me any cars. He sort
Oh,
of snubbed me and said, "No, you're doing the wrong thing." Best thing he ever said was he's a local guy too. He's got a local mechanical workshop. Still talk to him, but he said these words to me. They always resonate. He said, "You'll be nothing without me. You'll never survive." And I
famous.
went every day, every month. I mean, it's every year now. I do send him a text message just saying another year has gone.
Yeah, good.
So, but we're still friends. So, it's a bit of a running joke now. And yeah, so yeah, I did that and started that up, and that was how I all got going. And I ended up employing my first person from the Ford dealership. Actually, he was the yardie up there, and he wanted to come work with me, so I employed him, and then ended up employing another guy, and then we had to get a bigger premises because we were taking on so much work at the time. So working really long hours, and I ended up actually where I was living, I ended up moving out of there, and I lived in my factory where I was working because I was working such ridiculous hours. I was never spending any time back at home because I got
Yeah.
so excited about running this business now, and now I was getting the gist of it and how everything worked and operated. It was really exciting. So that became part of my life, everything in my life at the time. So I was living there, working there, but after about 6 months, I got sick of living at work, so I did decide to move back into the real world. But yeah, I mean, like that's how it all sort of went, and we were in that place there for around probably about 6 or 7 years in both those places. One of them got sold, and I had to move out of the small one, which was my first place. That was probably a bit of a sad moment because it's where I started my business, and they demolished the building and built another building there. So, and I was right next door to it with the other shop. So, I mean, at one stage I had 8 guys working for me. So we had 8 guys, and there's 2 shops, and it was pretty out of control. But it was good like at the time. So yeah.
How'd you
And
go
was
back then with products and all that? Like, did you just wing it and use what you knew, or and
So
then
that's a
even
good
with your workers, yeah.
Yeah, so that's a good question. So compared to what we do today, it was quite funny because obviously I could detail my own cars with polish and that, but I never really touched a buffing machine. And I know there was this old guy up the road who was a detailer, and I thought I'm going to go up and just have a word to him to see if I can get some advice from him. And he was working underneath a service station, like down the underneath it where the old garages were, where they used to sort of fix cars there, but they'd stopped doing that because it just became one of those supermarket Caltex type service stations where they were beginning. And so I went down there and saw him, and he said to me, "Oh, look, you know what? I'm giving this up." He goes, "I'm going in about a month." He said, "I might just go now." And he said, "You can have all my stuff if you like." And he had he gave me three old Makita buffs, the old, almost like an angle grinder with a fluffy pad on it.
Mm.
He gave me a bucket of the green, I'll just call it sand. It was like a 20-litre bucket of just green compound. And he gave me an oil water separator, and a few other things, other compounds that he had. And he gave me a bit of knowledge, and then that was it.
He was done.
He was done. And so I had all my equipment then, and I had all these buffs, and
Had your sand.
I had the sand, the green sand. It was just I think back then, and I think, how many cars did we leave buffer trails through
Oh,
Mm.
back in those days, Because I remember as we went along, and as the men come around in the van with all the equipment and started introducing new items like, foam pads and all these modern things and different compounds, I learned a lot of things there. But I mean, still, you'd have to probably do a three-stage buff on a car back then, to get anything looking great and polishing it up. And it took a lot more time to do. But
mm.
the methods were a lot simpler back then. But we sort of advanced pretty quickly once we started, learning that there's other compounds out there, and things were still quite basic, even though, early days with what was available, it still wasn't like today where you've got a product for everything these days, and the buffs are just so much more advanced, DAs and stuff you can't really mess up. I mean, I do remember I burnt through a couple of cars, in the early days. Not many. Some of my staff burnt through a lot more. So that all came with training. Once you do it once, you don't want to do it again. But there's a couple of guys that sort of thought they would be invincible and get away with it. But yeah. So
We've all been there, I think. We can all relate to that.
yeah,
Can I ask you, like, being in business for so long,
yeah.
what's what's been like the real highs that you've had, like the peaks where just it was this year, this was what was going on, and our business was just humming. I'd love to hear an example of that and why you think that was the case. But also what if you don't mind sharing, the absolute low, like where there was just so much competition or staff were leaving or you just had burnout. Like, yeah, let us know like what that journey has been like, where you've had massive wins, but also like you've had to just really just trudge through mud to get through the valleys.
Yeah, look, I mean, to be honest, I've had to reinvent the wheel, I reckon, 20 times along the year. So each year is different. You certainly, you certainly come up against a lot of challenges, and staff have always been a pretty big challenge. I mean, I've had great staff and I've had awful staff,
Hmm.
but they all sort of, I guess, what am I going to say? Look, the highs is, if you go back in the early days, I remember the highs were, so you didn't have Google AdWords then, you didn't have SEO.
Yeah.
What we did is we advertised in the local paper, the Manly Daily, and also what we did is flyers like drop-offs, and I
Yeah.
remember doing a 3,000 leaflet letterbox drop with me and four other mates, and we just absolutely carpeted the area. And out of that, I got about five people.
Yeah.
So
That sounds about right.
that was a high though, like we were getting out there. And I remember then the local paper wanted to do a newspaper article on us. And so that was another high because you sort of feel like you're being recognized out there. And when I started, there was another detailer, and there was two other detailers in Brookvale at that time. One was known as the best, and he's still around today, and he was known as the best. And then the other guy was just the cheapest and the worst. So I had to make that in between because I got approached by a lot of little car yards and stuff, and they all sort of, "Oh, you're doing detailing," and they go, "Yeah." And the main thing they always said was, "Well, we're just not happy with our current detailer." So I thought, you've got to keep them happy. Do whatever you got to do. Keep these guys happy, and they won't want to go anywhere else. And that's sort of a formula that I sort of stuck to, I guess, and kept it that way, and that's how we sort of kept the dealerships. But over time, I mean, as for lows, yeah, look, staff. have let me down a lot. I believe you could certainly run a lot of more businesses if you had great staff, good reliable staff. Like I said, and I've had amazing staff that have worked for me as well, and still do. And and then the other things are down. Like we became quite reliant on dealership work.
Mm.
And in the beginning, it was great because it just provides you with you know, with an income source, and it's constant. And we were doing probably three or four dealerships. And when you have that, you feel like you're kind of king when you're
Yeah.
dealing with a lot of dealerships. And you do the detailing for them, and you do, they must be good. So we were doing probably 80% dealerships and 20% private work. And at the end of the day, that's not going to make you a great lot of money because the dealerships will do it. You do it for nothing.
Mm.
And I remember I was doing used cars for about, I don't know, $110. And I'm talking like I'd get a Land Rover Discovery that had been around Australia, and I would spend
Oh
almost
my.
2 days on it for $110. But I
Must be
thought that was
rich.
great. Yeah, I thought that was great because we had money coming in, and I'd started
Yeah.
this business and money was kept coming in. So, and new cars we would do for about, I think it was like $55 at the time.
Just like pre-delivery kind of
Yeah,
stuff.
just a pre-delivery kind of thing. But we had the volume.
Mm.
Yeah.
So so it kind of outweighed it, with the volume, but and the
Mm.
staff. And I guess in the earlier days, probably could have made a lot more money, but I was more excited
Yeah.
about running the business. So I guess that's probably a high as, is running the business there. And but with changes in that, nowadays, um, you have your ups and downs. I mean, there's probably seven or eight detailers in the vicinity of me now, plus a
Mm.
couple of mobile guys. There's enough work to go around for everybody, but you do notice sometimes, because we have so much access to everyone else's workshops now. We can see it all through their Instagram, their stories, their reels. We know what they're doing and how they're doing it. And you can sort of see sometimes you might feel like you're falling behind or, with it, but then there's other times when you can't keep up with it. So, yeah.
Mm.
That's good. I was going to ask you like, if you don't mind sharing, because staffing is a hot topic. Um, it can be real challenging, and I believe it's just getting harder and harder to hire people.
Yeah.
Not because of the people, but because of it's very much moved. I believe personally, it's very much one-sided. Everything is to benefit the employee, not the employer. But that's just me from my experiences. What has been your experiences with staff? What were the bad times? And what are the good times? Like if we got people listening thinking, oh man, I've not heard nothing but bad things. And I'd love to hear your hard stories because it's just good insight. Sometimes it's good because it makes people think, great, I'm not the only one that have had this issue. But also it's like, how have you managed to get good stuff, make them great and profitable, but also I'm just trustworthy, reliable, all those kind of things.
Yeah. So, yeah, I can answer that really well. So, I guess if I looked at staff, the bad staff, I had bad staff that I had. And when I say bad, I mean, so one guy that I had working for me was on the ice,
Yeah.
and he ended up going through a stage where I wasn't really aware of it. It wasn't that bad, but there was one night where one day I got to work early, and he was trying to break into the building to steal a car to drive off into the sunset. And so, that's a bad staff that you have. There's always the unreliable stuff. And I think when I listen to the podcast, you guys all the time, someone will always mention staff along the way. And I think, look, you're always going to get those bad staff. I think it is different. I think exactly what relating to what you said there, you know, it's more on the employee now. They have much more advantage. They can just get online. They can be laying in bed at night, look online on Seek, and they can see another job, and they'll go, "Oh, more money. I'm going to go do that." And there's no real loyalty there a lot of the time. But you know what I've got now is I have a really amazing staff at the moment. Like they're just great, and the way which I've which we did them instead of just because you think as detailing as you know a sort of easy job once you train the people up. It's not like there's no training course for it. It's not a high end type job, and so the people you get for it sometimes You've got to filter them out, the serious people, the people that are going to waste your time and the people that aren't. And and so what we did is rather than just go, the guy walks in the street and goes, yeah, I work at the Mazda dealership. I'm a detailer there, which just means he washes the customers' cars. I'm a detailer there, and you give him the job, that could be good. And you'll figure out whether he wants to listen to you and learn in the beginning. But what we did the last time is we, instead of just giving that job away easily, we really vetted them. We asked them a lot of personal questions in the interview. We sort of, when I say we, I mean my manager and myself sat down. We both interviewed these people and we sort of asked them a lot of questions, got a lot of background onto them, and we treated it more like a serious job interview because that's what we wanted. We wanted the people that were going to be serious. And because we had two of us there observing the same thing, we weren't biased towards anyone. And in the end, out of about 12 people, we came up with said, we've got to pick two. And so we picked two people. We actually picked the same two people. And so with that, I think, and that's why now I've still got those two working for me really successfully. And, getting into my second shop, if we get into that later, one of my guys working for me now, he's amazing. He's an absolute champion when it comes to everything with that shop. And that second shop, there's a bit of a story behind it. I went in with a business partner. My business partner fell on a bit of hard financial times. So I bought him out and I took that on the basis that my manager was going to run my Brookvale shop. And then the Motorvale shop I would go and run because it's a new business and I want to be the face of that business and keep it running. And then when I lost that manager, I didn't really know what to do with the shop at Motorvale. But my 19-year-old champion stood up and basically just said, hey, you know what? I'd like the opportunity to run this shop and I've got plans. I want to buy into it in the future.
Wow.
And
Don't usually hear that.
no, not from a 19-year-old.
Not
And
from a 30-year-old.
yeah, and I was gobsmacked by that because
That's great.
it was what I needed to hear. And I've worked with him on that shop. He's basically run that shop now for the last 8 months on his own. I do the bookings, he does the detailing, greets customers, makes sure everything's right, checks the cars before they go out, does all the ceramic coatings, liaises with the customers, and he's always coming up with the ideas. And now he's into me for doing PPF. So,
So
he
he's
wants,
pretty much wants to run a business. He is essentially like, in a way, he's the
yeah,
face of one anyway.
he
Yeah,
is, and he's amazing. And
that's great.
the other key issue there is to let your staff know that they're doing good.
Yeah.
Like just give them a bit of praise. When they do a good job on a car, which is hopefully all the time, let them know when they leave and they say, just let them know, hey, you've done a great job there. That's really good. Or feedback from them. Like, and if they leave before the customer picks up the car, let them know the next day, hey, the customer's really happy with that car. You did a great job. Well done. And I think that makes them feel that bit important because they are important. They're very important. And that's where you want to hang on to those good staff. So, yeah.
That's great. Thanks for
But
that. It's really good.
yeah, I do hear a lot of people, in the podcast talk about staff and bad things, but I think another important thing is if you have a good staff member and they leave, don't be upset by it because you think it's the end of the world, but then someone
Mm.
else will come along. The right person will come along. It may take a couple of goes, but you'll get that right person and then, it all falls back into place. So,
I was a sucker for that big time when, well, we've had a few really good office administrators.
yeah.
And when one of them left because she just wanted a career change, I remember my wife and I were just like, man, no one's ever going to be as good as her. She was so good. Like, who's going to fill her boots? Maybe one of us will have to jump into that role. And, you just kind of think no one else could ever do it. You put them on this massive pedestal and then someone comes along and they're better than her. And then down the track, that person, she moved to New Zealand because of COVID. She moved back 'cause she was from there. And we're like, no one's ever going to be as good as her. And then someone comes along and is like, they're not better, but they're different, and it's just, you're exactly right, Jason. Like, you just can't rule everyone else out in the world. Um,
Well, I mean, the manager that I had working for me in my shop, I gave him basically carte blanche. He could just work in the shop and take over it. And I gave some instructions, but he ran it quite well for a while, but then it just ran less and less and less.
Mm.
And he left. And I'd worked with him for nearly 8 years.
Wow.
So, we'd worked through COVID. We'd worked together for 8 years, got on great, and then it all just fell apart. And that was probably, a problem where I went back to it and I sort of said, well, what am I going to do now? How do I do this? But then, like I said, it all works out. My 19-year-old champion superstar stood up and said, I want to go and run Monavale. You come back to Brookvale, you look after Brookvale, I'll run Monavale. Best thing that ever happened, and I don't look back at that now whatsoever. I'm back running the shop that I've run for 20 years, and he's running my new shop and expanding it and doing a really great job. So yeah,
Unicorn.
unicorn.
Like that's everyone's always whinging and whining about the young generation now, and to hear someone doing that, that's actually really refreshing. So
Well, you
yeah.
know what? It's also how you train them. If
Yeah,
you
big
train
time.
them, you got to train them right. It's on you. They're a blank page when they start.
Yeah.
If you train them right and treat them right, then there shouldn't be an issue. If they have issues where they're doing something wrong, then it probably winds back onto you and not giving
Yes.
them,
You're the one that employed them. You're the one that is allowing them to do certain things. And yeah, yeah, I was told that that was a massive wedgie wake
yeah,
up call.
yeah. Yeah.
Just within your on the employees with the hiring side, are you looking for someone with experience, or are you opting for someone with zero and just loves
So
cars or something?
yeah, that's a good question. So I prefer zero. I like to just train them how they are. I've had a couple of guys, and we spoke about that earlier. I've had a couple of guys that have come in and they think they know it all. And a lot of the time they do, don't get me wrong. I've had guys that come in and they know really good stuff, and you can actually learn stuff from them as well,
Yeah.
where they've worked. But there's a lot of times you kind of want to run your workshop to a formula of how you run it. And, it's you feel that's the best way. That's how it all works. That's how your staff are that you've trained that way. When you get someone to come in, I know it's hard for them to adjust, and some people can adjust and some people can't. But of course, if they do something a slightly different way and it still has the same outcome, that's fine, But yeah, I mean,
You can teach skill and technique, but it's very hard to teach character. If you want them to suit your culture and stuff like that, it can be really hard to instill character into a mature male. Maybe if they're 15, skill-based trainee, they're very moldable, they'll come under your wing and all that. But that's my could you relate to that?
yeah, absolutely. And I think another thing is including them in the business a bit more than just detailers. So
Sure.
guys, I like them to train up and have confidence and go and talk to the customers on the driveway when they pull up. They know everything we do. They know the procedures, and that's where, say, my guy that runs the Monoval shop, it's one thing he had to learn was confidence to deal with customers, and he learnt that, and he's quite confident now with the customers on there. But it also gives them more involvement in the business,
Yeah.
and I think that's good for them as well. Where I've actually got another guy there who sees a customer, runs around, curls up in a ball, and we laugh about it. But, it's not for everybody, and,
Yeah.
and and that's he just sort of comes and gets me if we're the only people in the shop. He'll say, "Oh, I've got a customer," and but that's okay by me. I like everyone to be, more of a part of the business than just detailing because I think it's important to feel more as a part of it. So, and with the two shops, I swap the staff between the shops a lot of the time so that they're not in the one place and they enjoy that. They enjoy having a little bit of a different environment to work in, and they feel like a bit more important because they needed at that shop or one or the other. So, yeah, I think that's a good thing as well.
Hmm.
Yeah. Awesome. So
Within
where are
your,
the shop? Oh, sorry, Dale, you go, mate.
you're right. Just in your time over with products and stuff, like you would have been around when ceramic coatings first launched and stuff, and
Yeah.
how many did you test and all that before you set on with what you got now and all that sort of stuff? How's that been?
Yeah, so that's quite funny because when ceramic coatings came in, I was a bit skeptical of them. I thought, here's a bit of a sales gimmick. I'm not going to get involved in that. I don't want to sell snake oil to my customers. And I had this one customer who were doing his Audi RS3 that he had. He's a good customer of mine. I was washing it and it was just beating up and it felt so great. And I'm like, what's wrong with your car? And he said, oh, I got it ceramic coat. And I was like, wow, okay. So he goes, you should add it to your business. And I thought, okay, great. So I went and I went and looked into it, and there wasn't a lot back then. There was a couple of obvious brands around. It wasn't like there is today, but so I sort of shopped around and looked around, and then I ended up taking on Ceramic Pro. Um, I kind of liked them, but the funny thing was I had to contact them like 3 or 4 times. I think they get contacted a lot, and they never bothered to contact me back. And then I sent them this long email with pictures of my workshop and the business that we do and everything else. And then they actually made contact with me and they came out and saw us. And then once they saw the shop, they went, "Yeah, that's great. We'll have you on as the
What
Northern
year
Beach."
is this? Just so I can jump in, Jace. What year is this year?
That was probably about 10 years ago, so probably 2015, 2016.
Oh, okay. So not super, not like 2010 or anything like that. Yeah, right.
No,
Okay.
not that we didn't get into it that early,
Yeah, okay, cool.
and so we kind of took off there because we're doing Ceramic Pro now for 10 years. So I would say, yeah, 2014, maybe at the earliest,
Yeah.
is that was. And, we took that on and it was very daunting at first doing ceramic
Yeah.
coating. But once we got into it and realized, you know, the potential of earnings and the easy when you're doing new cars. So it's a lot more than just struggling away detailing a car when you can make the same money doing a car on a ceramic coat on a car. So, and we've stuck with Ceramic Pro, like all the way through. And we do use G Technic a little bit now as well.
Yeah.
Uh, we've moved on to that a little bit, just as another option. We had a couple of customers wanted that as an option, so we sort of borrowed a couple off another shop and did that. But then in applying it, we liked the application process, and so we do both. We still do more probably ceramic coating and Ceramic Pro, but yeah. So with brands, I've been approached a lot, for trying different brands, and I have tried different brands. We've done a lot of demos, and nothing's really convinced me away from the current ones that we're using. So I think if something ain't broke, don't fix it. And
Yeah.
I've always liked that, and the behind, the sort of the culture behind it. So yeah. And I know a lot of shops go to a lot of different coatings, and I never understand how that works a lot of times. You do a lot of coatings, a lot of different brands. How do you say what's better than the other when the customer's asked? I mean, I guess everything has maybe its own purpose in one way or another if you're getting really technical into it. But I think I like to keep it simple a lot of the time. So one coating, we don't do light, we just do the 9H. And of course, we do glass and wheels and calipers and all those other parts. But yeah, so we tend to keep it simple, and that's probably why I've stuck with the one brand the whole time. So
Yeah. So do you point people in the right direction with in regards to what coating they should get, whether it's Ceramic Pro or G Technic, or are people saying, I want Ceramic Pro on my Merc, and you're just like, all right, cool, we'll go
yeah,
with
but look,
CP.
well, some people search for it. Some people search on there, they end up on the Shrimp Pro website, and then they'll obviously see us as an applicator, so they'll call us that way, and then we can. Or a lot of the time, people are just at the dealership and they'll call us because the dealership has quoted a ridiculous price and they've used us before, so they want to get our opinion. Is this worth it? What price do you do for that?
Mm.
So, 9 times out of 10, we'll lock them in, and it just becomes another coating. I mean, we're probably doing 2 coatings a day, sometimes 3 coatings a day. So it's a lot. It's pretty common now. I mean, we do before, and I said we sort of do 80% dealership work and 20% private. We do 50-60% ceramic coatings now versus 40% detailing. So we sort of concentrate on both shops too, with coatings. I mean, the Monoval shop this week's pretty much all booked out for coating, so, and it's got no detailing in it. I think it's one detailing maybe, but so it's become sort of a ceramic coating shop this week, which is really good. So
Even better.
yeah, I don't know whether just a whole bunch of cars arrived on the dock and everyone wanted to get their coatings done, but we really got flooded this week, which is really good. So and needed.
Hmm.
How is that? Like I talked to some Sydney people. How is the market and the new car market like with getting business detailing? I know PPF world up there is hectic. And just yeah, the new car market is people still buying.
Yeah, look, I think it's all over the place. And we can talk about the cost of living and everything, but I think, people are still buying cars. I'll be driving to work and you'll listen to the radio, you'll hear people talking about the cost of living and how bad it is. And then we get to work and we get 4 or 5 phone calls on people getting ceramic coating because they're buying their new BMW, Audi, or, Porsche or something. So, or whatever. So I think the biggest problem with the car market is getting stock, which seems to be I've got customers that are waiting 8 months for Kias, and yet I've got other customers that just get their Kia straight away or their Hyundai. And I think when you order one, you've got to wait. So Range Rover's around, 8 months if you want to order a car to a year. And so, the car market's, I think it's fine. I think it's still out there. And now with electric cars, obviously, we do a lot of BYD. I
Yeah.
think if there's a week goes by when we don't have a BYD or two in the workshop, so they're just smashing it in their sales, obviously. And
There's a
fun
lot of stock of those, right? Like
there is.
no shortage of them.
Yeah, I saw the story the other day where they're all stocked
Yeah.
in the park down at wherever it was, but they were using the car park of one of the amusement parks or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, we get a lot of that in. I mean, and it's funny, like the market swift changed. I think we do a lot of Hyundai, a lot of Kia because they're quite a good product now, and people are buying those cars rather than the Audis, and we've still got the prestige side of it, but those lesser models, the lower models, I mean, they sort of be and they're really good quality now, a lot of that. And so I think
Yeah.
we see a lot of that. So the car market, New South Wales, I think it's fine. I think it's not slackening off at all. I mean, I think it's still on the up. We still get the inquiry and the bookings, so the new cars, so they're certainly being sold. And when we're only one small portion of the detailing world out there, so
Mm, yeah. Just with obviously shop fit outs, you've created a new shop. How costly is that? And probably some tips for anyone that is thinking of redoing their shop or
yeah,
moving
look,
to a new shop. There's a few guys out there now that have moved into one, some. So
yeah, so it's interesting because when I first fitted my shop out, it was quite easy, but this now you need everything. There's so much more available to fit them out. And I didn't fit it out fully yet. We're still in the process because there was a few ideas I wanted to switch around and how we wanted to do it. And of course, again, my Mighty Worker champion that I talk about that took over down there, he has his ideas on how he wanted to design it. So I thought if he's going to be down there, I want to sort of have his input as well, obviously, and get that fresher mind too of the younger generation, how they want to do it. I always listen to that because, I think that's a key element in listening to the younger generation sometimes of how they want to do things. It can be interesting, but the fit out cost, it wasn't too much. I mean, you just got to shop around. There's things like your flooring. When you do your flooring, I mean, I wanted to buy Australian, buy it in Australia, but the cost was ridiculous per tile. So we're looking at $6 to $7 a tile when I can get it direct from China for $1.90,
Yeah.
shipped. So obviously, there's if you look around, you can do the savings and the wash bay fit out. I fit them out myself, so I do the drains and everything and all the pump and stuff. I can kind of build them myself. So that's a
I'm
bit.
just literally, sorry to cut you in, Jason. I'm watching a video of yours right now, right? Because I like to like just immerse myself in the business that we're talking to. I'm looking at that the GT3 RS, the purple one.
Oh
And
yes.
your wash bay, it looks like you use the K. No, I'm probably wrong, but they look like the Kmart stick together gym mats, but I'm sure they're not that.
No, they are sort of a gym mat base,
Yeah, yeah.
and I've had those in my wash bay at Brookvale, not in
This
the
is on your
shop.
RPM web,
Yeah,
Instagram, right?
and
Yeah.
we had those same tiles, so I put those back into there because when you rent a premises, you don't want to dissolve the concrete, and when you use a pressure cleaner around the wheels, you end up eating the concrete away. So I just put those down as a way of not doing that, and they do not budge. Like you can
Wow.
smash them with a pressure cleaner and they won't move, bend, dissolve. Um, so so I did use them as the flooring in the wash bay. Ideally, I wanted to go to a grate and build a proper wash bay with a grate system on it, which is probably
Yep.
something we'll do down the track. But for the initial startup, rather than spend 20, 30 grand on a wash bay, we spent 3 grand on a wash bay and it does
Yeah.
exactly the purpose, you know. So that wash bay now is going to get some walls next to it and some lighting, and there's going to be a ceramic coating bay and other things in it as well. That's very early, those videos. So
Yeah, yeah. I see one shop because you have two shops. So, um, how far apart are they?
they're about 30 minutes, about 20 Ks apart.
So that's pretty close, isn't it?
It is. So what we found is if you look at the northern beaches, it goes to a point and it goes up to Palm Beach, and you can't go any further. You got to come back. So from the place where my shop is located at Mona Vale to Palm Beach, we used to get a lot of calls from that area, and then people just don't want to come to Brookvale. So
Yep.
we saw a bit of an opening down there. There's a couple of other detailing shops down there. You got Australian Detailing Services, which just do ridiculous high-end cars. A lot of the time they more concentrate on their wraps, their PPF and stuff. But so we saw an opening down there. We thought, let's open up another shop down there. It was either there, there's another location we're going to do. So we can just capture those people as well, because it was just a it was just a gap in the market we were missing out on. So by opening that shop, we sort of captured from Mona Vale to Palm Beach. Whereas from Mona Vale to Brookvale, people will tend to come, but you just hit that Mona Vale spot and they just don't want to come. You can offer them anything. You can offer them an Uber back home. You know, you can let them know that there's plenty of transport, buses, whatever, get a lift, and they just don't want to come. So it's a different lifestyle down there. It's very more relaxed. Those people are more happy going, easy going, but they just don't want to travel out of the area. So that was the idea of the second shop down that area.
Yeah, cool. Oh, that's awesome. Sounds a bit like what I've heard about about the
Little-
northern beaches. Very very exclusive.
Yeah,
That's cool. Like it's because to me, I'm like, crikey, 30 minutes apart. Like that's not enough. But when you have just those psychological barriers where people don't want to cross a particular bridge or, like those kind of key landmarks or whatever it is, yeah, you can really capitalize on that for your business. And then it means it's closer for you. It's not as far apart. You can jump between businesses easily. It's not a 2 hour drive. A
yeah.
lot of good things about that.
I mean, our goal is to do probably another 3 or 4 shops around Sydney. So we've got a couple of locations already picked out.
Wow.
Um, and to do a shop, if you've got the shop already going, you can just basically repeat it. You know,
Yeah.
you've got one down, you know what to do, so you can build a shop pretty easily if you wanted to, and then you just tweak it from there on. But if you get an operating workshop with 2 or 3 bays and a wash bay, and lighting and flooring, it's pretty simple to start that, and then of course you can just advance from there. I mean, it was a bit risky opening that shop, so I didn't want to go completely mad on a fit out, only if it sort of didn't work. You know, I didn't want to lose a big cost, but so yeah, I mean, the idea is then, maybe do another one another 20 kilometers away, and then another one that's on the 20 kilometers from the opposite side, where
Nice.
we're currently like Brookvale is more the head office. So
Yeah.
we sort of look at expanding out from there. And I guess in a way, my idea of that was to work less. So have a manager in the shop. Each shop has a
Yeah.
manager. I just float between them, make sure everything's going great. Maybe work 3 days a week, and concentrate more on the business and growing it, and social media side of it and everything as well. That you've got more time to do that because you're not actually on the tools. So at the moment, I'm on the tools. So all day, every day. And I've always been like that. I enjoy working and I want to keep working. So I'm not the guy that'll just sit in the office and crack the whip. So on it. So
Yeah.
keep just working with the boys and be one of the guys. So
Hmm.
That's awesome.
mm.
That's a really cool model that you're building there. That's hard to do as well, but it sounds like you've really been able to simplify your business. I think not having 20 different coatings works for you. That helps too.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's it too. I mean, I like to, like I said, I like to keep it simple. And you keep X amount of compounds, you use these buffs, your chemicals, you use these because this will do that and this will do that for that. You've got these coatings that you can use, and you keep it simple. And with that platform, it makes it a lot easier to go out and expand. And opening another shop in another area, it's so easy these days. It's like in the old days, you had to do the flyer drop or go and sit at the traffic lights with a wobble board and spin the arrow and, hey, look at us, we've got a detailing shop down here. But now with AdWords and SEO, you can start a shop and then, start generating traffic pretty easily. So I think, that's a good thing to take advantage of. And what I looked at was things like Crystal's Car Wash. Crystal's Car Wash or Star Wash that just keep opening up everywhere in every suburb. I mean, why can't you do that with a detailing shop?
Mm.
End of the day, every area needs a detailing shop, and you certainly go into whatever area, people will search for you. If you're near them, they'll give you the opportunity to do their car, and so if you just instead of having one shop, if you've got the ability to have a couple of shops. But again, it comes back to that thing called staff, which we spoke about earlier.
Mm.
You had the right people on the bus to do what you're doing.
Definitely, and you're obviously never going to remake yourself. You can't do that. You can't clone yourself. You can get close to it, but you've still got to have those reliable, intelligent, creative, interested staff members that are going to help you along your journey there. And I think that's really important is picking the ones that are going to help you along with your journey because you need it. Because if you're going to do multiple stores, you certainly can't do it on your own. So, you know, and that's what I'm slowly building at now. The Monavale shop, like I said, I've got my superstar in there, and hopefully that he stays that way. That's a rare find. Now, if we do the next shop, I've got to find the next superstar. So,
Yeah.
and that's probably the scariest part of opening a new shop. Not the cost, not everything else. It's just, is it going to be, reliable with staff? So,
Yeah. 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 Because it is so labor intensive. Like if one guy you only got one guy there and he calls in sick, essentially that shop is shut effectively for that day. So
or if he leaves,
yeah, or if he leaves.
if he leaves, you're stuffed. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
Hmm.
Can be scary, but that's a part of running a business, right? Like you take the risks, take that leap of faith when other people would rather just go to work, clock on for 8 hours, clock off, done, nothing to worry about at night. When you're probably humming all night long, thinking about the businesses.
Well, to be honest, like, being in business 20 years, I did have to sort of reinvent myself. It was getting a bit boring where I was.
Mm,
And, I was I go to work 6 days a week. I get up at the same time, have the same breakfast. I go to work, I work with the same people. I spend more time with them than I do with my family. And, so you've got to sort of reinvent it. And I thought to myself, what am I going to do next? Because I thought I'll just leave detailing and I'll go and do something else. But then I couldn't think of anything I liked doing, and I still like doing detailing. So I thought, why not do another couple of shops? And my business partner that was at Monavale originally approached me, and I sort of vetted him for nearly 12 months before I finally made a decision to go out and do it with someone because I thought I could do it on my own. But it was certainly a business model that worked really well with a business partner. And then I had to reinvent that after, obviously, like I said, he fell from financial hard times. So, I took it on myself again and had to reinvent it. And it wasn't really a shop that was designed for, one person to run, while they've got another shop they've got to run as well. But I made it work. And luckily I had, people that helped me along the way, my staff, they were really good. Like if I didn't have good staff, it probably wouldn't have been something I would have kept. But yeah, that's what I mean. That's where I was at. I was sort of thinking, hey, I've got to do something different. Done this for 20 years. What else can I do? I thought, well, let's just risk it. Put a bit of excitement back into the world and go and open another shop. Even though I said I wanted to work less, there, let's do another shop. So,
yeah.
but
I
the
got a quick,
end goal is to obviously work less. So,
yeah. Just a quick question before I jump to Dal, but I'm really intrigued. How often do you run your numbers through your businesses, like budgeting, forecasting, knowing what your expenses are, especially when you're not always at present in one of the shops. Like, yeah,
Yeah, look, pretty much all every day, but when you do it long enough, you sort of know what's coming. You know how it is, and it falls into a comfort zone where I know what we've got to book in, and I'll overbook us nearly every week. I'll be overbooking us. I won't be reasonable with the bookings. So we're always stretched and flat out, I guess. But I do run the numbers. I mean, I run the numbers in my mind nearly every week. So I make sure we've got a budget every week. And I'll sit there sometimes at home and I'll be in front of the TV and then I'll just grab my phone, I'll look at the calendar and I'll start adding up in my head what we've got coming in this week. And that's provided every customer's going to turn up. It's not community cancellations. And so then I'll think, okay, well, that's good. We're going to make this much this week. And we've made this much last week. So I know we're on track. Um, and like I said, the way it's formulated with the moment at Brookvale, I've got two staff and myself. We do that. We do a coating a day, a couple of details, and a few other little things in between. And that's the formula that's going to make our budget every sort of time. But like this week, for example, my budget was set. I knew what we'd done. I'd sat there, I looked, and I knew what we were going to do. We picked up another two ceramic coatings today, which I booked in this week. So obviously that's a bonus and that's good and
yeah,
it makes you feel good and it's yeah. So
that's really good.
running the numbers, I guess I just do it automatically. I know what both shops are going to be like. The other shop doesn't run very expensive. It doesn't have a lot of overheads. It's got a rent, but obviously the staff get paid through the other shop. So at the moment, I just keep that very simple down there,
Yeah,
and it's only a startup shop, so it doesn't make the numbers that the other shop makes, obviously, but it makes still good numbers. Like
yeah.
it hasn't lost yet, which is good. So
That's good because I only wanted to ask you because, there's so many like electricity's going up. Like our suppliers put their prices up without like, formally letting us know sometime. Superannuation goes up every year, wages go up every year, and they can really creep up on us. And it's like, gee, I haven't changed my prices for 2 years. And now I'm actually including more stuff because I went and bought an air compressor and now I'm blowing out their car, but I actually built that into the cost of my business. So I'm really bleeding more money out of these jobs. So it can really eat away if we're not on top of it. Like it sounds like you definitely are, which is great.
well, it's funny you say that too, because about price increase, and I think I was talking about some of this the other day. I think we've upped our prices over the last couple of years, and I think now we're at a point where people are at that tipping point where they don't want to spend any more money. And I'm not sure what you guys charge in Queensland, what you charge in South Australia, but here, and especially on the northern beaches, rents are high and other costs are high, like rates from the council and stuff. But it's funny you say that because I notice now a lot of people, you'll quote them on a car and they'll say, oh, okay, well, how much to do just the interior then? And maybe give the outside a wash. So they're kind of cutting it down. But you never used to do that. And then you sort of upsell them. You end up doing the whole detail in the end, and they're happy because they're happy they did that. But I do notice that everything else goes up. But I don't know if we're at a point now where we can actually increase prices more. I mean, there are other shops around me that are a bit more expensive, and
Yeah.
they still get the work in the doors. So, maybe you can do that. Maybe we're a busy shop because we're competition to them. They're slightly more expensive than us. And if people are shopping around, they go, oh, I'll go with these guys. I'll read the reviews. Reviews are great. They've been here 20 years. Oh, how bad can they be? So they give you a go. You know. So
Fair point.
Yeah, it's good.
We'll hook into I said we don't have any questions, but we have our 5-stage questions. You'd probably, if you listen enough, you'd probably know them. First ever detailing job? Can you remember
first
back?
ever so first ever detailing job I did is, funnily enough, I worked at a detailing shop before I worked in the detailing, and I lasted. It was in Brookvale, and it's the guy that was my competition, and I worked there for a week, and he was so aggro and so angry, I just couldn't work for him, and I couldn't believe how he treated his staff, and I just went, I can't work here. This is mental. and I left. And so then I opened my shop. My first detailing job that I did on a car was a faded burgundy colored Volkswagen Caravelle van that I didn't have a buff. I hand polished it with cutting compound on a rooftop, and it was a hot day, and it actually looked all right in the end. But that was my first detailing job, I guess, if you want to call a detailing job
Yep.
that I did. So yeah, one was that I worked with a guy for a week, and the other was, yeah, it was an actual car, which was a disaster, but I made it look good somehow. I spent a lot of time on it. So
Yeah,
yeah,
wow.
first detailing job.
Yeah.
Is that detail still up and running? The one
The
that you work
one that I
for?
worked for, yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
he's been longer in business than me,
Oh, wow.
and but he's just known as a very aggro man. So I give him a wave. We have a wave because we know each other. You know, we've been around for 20 years. We see each other, we'll give a wave, but sometimes he doesn't wave back. But there's another little guy. There's a little guy that does a lot of cheaper stuff. He does a lot of dealership work still. He walks around in his little white overalls and hat. He hasn't changed in 20 years. And we still laugh and wave at each other all the time because we're like veterans at it, you know. And it's quite funny seeing how we're all changing, sort of, except for him. He just still looks the same white overall. Yeah,
Detailing doesn't age you at all.
no, not at
Oh,
all.
yeah, right.
It's funny when I look back. I look back at some of the early photos of me in the shop detailing, and I can progressively see the grey hair coming through, you know, as you get older and older. And I know that that shop did that to me. So, but you know, I wouldn't change it. That's great. It's been a really good journey. So,
I had
Yeah.
hair before I started, so. Um, a dream car or something you'd always wanted or got already?
look, a customer asked me this the other day. Dream car. I mean, my dream car is. It always comes back to one thing. That's Ferrari F40. If I could have a Ferrari F40 or a Lamborghini Countach, but probably a Ferrari F40. And the funny thing is, in Brookvale, where I am in the vicinity, there's about 2 to 3 Ferrari F40s within a 2 kilometer radius of my workshop.
Oh, wow.
And they're hidden. One people know about one of them, but the other two, probably not so much. But it's quite interesting. But that would be my dream car, definitely. Yeah, always has been. It was the car I had on the wall. It was car I watched multiple videos on when it was on TV, and yeah, so if I could have anything, that would probably be it. Going back, very analog, great Ferrari.
Oh, very nice. Um, a favorite detailing tool or product?
Oh, definitely a Roops DA buff or something like, you know, like
Yeah.
from when I started, I mean, like I said, buffs now are just such amazing things that they make the job so much easier, and you can do so much more with them. You can do so much of a better job, and you can train people on them very easily. Um, and you don't have to have that fear of mistakes happening because, you know, if you train them right, they'll listen to you and they do it right. And all my guys now, I can't remember the last time, actually, I tell a lie. I can't remember really the last time when a mistake was made that would be, you know, something which would be really stupid, you know. So probably the buffs. I really like the buffs these days, and everything
Mm.
from the little flexes to you know, to the DAs are really good. Like I think they're probably one of the best tools these days, definitely.
Yeah. Yeah, no,
Sweet.
cool. Um, I'll just go into interests outside of detailing as well.
Yeah, so interests outside detailing. Probably cars. I mean, it's always cars. I mean, I've got into a few different cars, into German cars and into JDM cars, and I've had collections of cars. I've had 8 cars at one stage, so
Oh, wow.
decided to lessen that collection of cars. I had race cars. I do a bit of racing too, like just a bit of super sprints and stuff, which I've done, and I really kind of enjoy doing those. I haven't done a bit lately because I haven't got a race car at the moment, so plans were to build a new race car because I sold my old race car. But so plans are to sort of do another one of those, I guess, when I get some time and get back out on the track and have some fun, or you know, start using one of the cars I have. So
Yeah.
I've got a 71 model Escort, which um, which is probably my pride and joy. And I think I might end up doing some track work in it because, it's more my era. I want to go back to the basics, rear wheel drive, fun, no driver aids, you
Mm.
know, and some good power. So,
Where do you do that mainly?
Eastern Creek.
Yep.
Yeah, it's pretty much all Eastern Creek now. There's not a lot of tracks around here now. I mean, they've just opened Wakefield Park again down there. They've redone that slightly. So there's a couple of tracks around. Other tracks are a bit too small. I don't like the smaller tracks. I like the bigger tracks, more fast and stuff. But yeah, there's a couple opening up, sort of up the coast more coming in the next couple of years. Um, yeah. So
Yeah, right. Oh, well, that's about it, mate. Well, you got any more else there, Joe?
No, I think that was really good insight, Jason, of how you operate your businesses and what you're doing. That sounds incredible. Like Sydney, there's a lot of detailers in Sydney, and the fact that you can have two shops and be really busy and consistent and profitable, like that's and really good staff too. Like I think if anyone wants to find out more information of how to run one shop successfully, or two, they can definitely reach out to you if that's sweet. I think you'd be very helpful for someone to talk to.
yeah, look, it's all like I said, it's patience and taking that risk as well. You've got to take a risk and break out of your comfort zone and sort of, just say, I mean, some people are happy doing one shop. I mean, one shop can certainly be enough, but if you get the backing for it and you train your staff right and you have the right guys and they're going to work with you, I think that's a pretty key element there. And at the moment, my boys work really well. They're always there helping me out. And, you know, I think it's amazing to have that and take advantage of that while you've got it too, because that's your time to go and do it. So, um,
Yeah,
but
great.
yeah, my goals and set yourself some goals and do a business plan. I redo a business plan every 2 to 3 years because everything changes. So you got to know where you're at. If you've got a plan to stick to, like a business plan written in front of you, it's just a map that's built out. It's where you go, and it's much easier to do than just winging it sometimes. So
Yeah,
it
Mm.
that's
doesn't
true.
hurt to do a plan for the future.
No, that's awesome. Good
Mm,
tips for everyone out there.
yeah.
So, no, awesome, mate. We'll wrap it up and thanks again. If anyone wants to reach out, what's your what's your best social media platform?
So probably the Deluxe Automotive Detailing. It's the Deluxe Detailing Sydney
Yep.
is our Instagram. Anyone can call the shop as well. I'm not afraid to talk to people, so have spoken to a few people along the way. They've asked me advice on things and stuff. Whether or not it's good advice, I don't know, but I can certainly offer it some words. Just the experience of surviving 20 years, I guess, and
Yep.
just I hope everyone out there can survive for 20 years and feel the same, like enjoy it. So,
No.
but you got to keep at it and enjoy doing what you do. That's another thing.
Mm.
Enjoy going to work. I love going to work as a detailer. So, you know,
It's great.
No, it's awesome.
and it's good to meet you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's been good. So,
Yeah.
no, and I hope everyone, listening can reach out if they got any questions because, that's like we're saying, it's good when other guys listen to a pod, reach out to you, message you or something, and
Yeah.
that's sort of what it's all about as well.
I
Connecting
think it's
each other.
good. Yeah. If we all get advice from each other and we all listen to each other and we've got people to talk to and a bit of a network, I think it's good.
Mm,
It's a really good thing. And a lot of things out there can be very daunting in the detailing world that,
Mm.
even choosing what ceramic coatings to use. If you're starting up a shop, what do you want? What ceramic coating should you use? There's 50 of them out there to 100 of them out there on the market. What do you use? So, don't overcomplicate it, but
mm,
certainly, like, it's good if we have that network there and you can ask all those questions.
yeah. No,
Yeah.
don't be afraid. So,
Mm.
all right, we'll wrap it up. But thanks, Joe.
Thank you, Dale. Thanks,
Thanks, Joe.
Jason.
No worries, Joe. Thank you. Good to meet
Really
you.
good chat.
Good to meet you, Dale.
Yep, you too, man.
Now I can put a face to the voice.
Yeah, thank you. No, it's been good. So, all right, thanks everyone, and we'll talk soon. Cheers.
Jeez. See
See
ya.
you
See ya.
soon.
Bye.
That was another episode of the Detailing Down Under podcast. Subscribe now for everything auto detailing in Australia.